All right, guys, I'm going to try this one more time. I've been booted off my connection a few times, and so hopefully it's going to work now. We'll see. So yeah, hey guys, I'm Jonathan Watchery. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can magnetize your ideal life. So today I'm going to be talking about semen retention benefits. This is something, I'm sure you guys know I'm very passionate about, and I'm sure a lot of you are quite familiar with this. I just want to talk a bit about my favorite benefits of practicing semen retention, what I've noticed practicing semen retention. Hey, greetings from Argentina. Welcome, brother. Thanks for joining. Greetings from the US. Yeah, everyone who's watching, why don't you type in the chat box where you're watching from. So I first discovered semen retention about, it's been 6 years now or so. I was interested in yoga, meditation, and all these different sort of spiritual practices and self-improvement practices. And I read Montauk Chi's book, Multi-Orgasmic Man, and that really turned me on to the possibility that constantly ejaculating may be draining our energy, and that we don't have to be experiencing this, because we associate ejaculation with orgasm, and this doesn't have to be the case. You can have non-ejaculatory orgasms. And so why would you want to do this? Why would you want to separate orgasm from ejaculation? So when you think about what semen is, it's the seed of the body. It's the essence of the body. All of the parts of the body have to contribute to create this semen. It's incredibly potent, concentrated substance. And I believe it's not something to be taken lightly. How do you feel after you ejaculate? Do you feel as energized and as driven as you were moments before, when you were at full arousal? No, you feel quite a drop in your energy level, quite a drop in your mood often. So there's clearly something, you've clearly lost something after you ejaculate. It's very impaired by the shift that happens in your mood and your overall feeling, and the fact that you lose your erection. So something's lost there. And it became very apparent to me, after I started to actually go periods of time without ejaculating, that there was really something to this, because I had never done that. Since I started masturbating, I would pretty much ejaculate like every day or every few days, And so once I started going like weeks at a time without ejaculating, it totally changed my life. It was like, wow, I have all this energy all of a sudden. I feel different. I feel confident. I feel motivated. It's like a night and day difference when you're ejaculating every day versus when you're not, when you're holding that energy in your body. Most guys never experience having a full sexual charge, meaning that they're allowing the sexual energy to build up versus just ejaculating it out as soon as they feel arousal. When you can contain arousal in your body, when you can contain desire, that sexual power, it really drives your life and can drive you into anything you want to do. So it's such a powerful practice. So one of the main benefits I've noticed from practicing semen retention is improved confidence. I used to be very not very confident person. I couldn't talk to girls. I was too shy to talk to girls. If I thought a girl was attractive, I couldn't talk to her. I was very not very confident. And just in general, in areas of my life, I lacked the confidence to like pursue my dreams, pursue my goals, and make things happen. I was very I lacked the ability to take action. I didn't believe in myself fully. I think a lot of that was because I was in a constantly depleted state, because I was, addicted to porn and masturbating all the time, and just depleting my life force, basically, going on this downward spiral. So once I started retaining semen, I just noticed that even after a few days, this feeling of confidence, this like powerful feeling, you build up that yang charge, that masculine charge, and your hormone levels increase, and you just feel this increased sense of confidence, this sort of magnetism. What I noticed was that after I would masturbate and ejaculate, watching porn, I always had this kind of like almost guilty sort of feeling. And like when I was around other people, I felt like just this weird feeling of weakness, basically. And that no longer became a part of my life when I stopped masturbating all the time, stopped ejaculating all the time. So confidence definitely improves when you're practicing semen retention. Another large benefit is increased energy. And, I've heard several people say that it takes maybe like a third of the body's energy to produce semen. And, because this is such a rich, nutrient and energy rich substance. So when you're body's constantly having to produce high levels of semen because you're ejaculating all the time. You don't have the energy that you would otherwise have when you're not ejaculating every day. So you have all of this energy all of a sudden. I started needing to sleep less, and I was just very energized throughout the day. I stopped like drinking caffeine and taking substances because I just had this natural large supply of energy from practicing semen retention and cultivating that energy through sexual kung fu practices. So there's some questions. As always, I'm going to answer the questions towards the end of this. I like to save the questions for last, but yeah, keep asking questions if you have them. So, well, this is kind of fitting. Someone asked how old I was when I started semen retention. It was 6 years ago, and yeah, so it was 2013, and I'm 20 now. I'm 30 now, so I was 23 when I started getting into semen retention. Or sorry, 24. My math is great if you can't tell. So yeah, and also, so energy's significantly improved when you're practicing semen retention. A lot of people have told me that they require less sleep when they're practicing retention because you're not in energy depletion mode, you're in abundance mode. And I've noticed that motivation is improved, and this goes along the lines of having more confidence, having more energy. You have more energy to do things with. So you feel really motivated to get things done. You have this masculine charge of energy. So you want to go out into the world and accomplish things, all this motivation, all this drive. And again, I used to be a pretty lazy kind of yin person. I would just sit around and wouldn't do much. Well, when I started practicing retention, that changed. I suddenly started taking action. I started thinking about what I wanted in my life, and I would go out and start getting it, started working towards what I wanted to accomplish. And that led to me, being where I am, like I'm self-employed. I can travel as I please. I'm not tied into a 9-to-5 job. So this, all this happened because I made the decision to increase my willpower, my energy levels, practicing semen retention and sexual cultivation. So it really led to all kinds of success in my life, and it can for anyone as well. So that's another major benefit to this. Focus, I've noticed focus is increased. A lot of people report they feel brain fog after ejaculating, and I often do myself as well, definitely. And so this is a definite benefit of practicing semen retention, is having much more focus, having this like laser-like focus and clarity. You'll notice that your mood improves, and of course your energy levels improve, as I said before, and your focus is just like rock solid. So you want to like start studying things, start working out, moving your body, learning new things, developing your skills, your creativity, and just thriving. And you'll have so much focus and energy to do it. So it's really incredible lifestyle. And creativity is improved. Sexual energy is creative energy. I do a lot of creative work in my life. I am a musician. I used to be a full-time working musician. Now I'm a full-time sexual kung fu instructor, but I still play music, and I definitely have an abundance of creative music, for whatever I'm doing, from practicing semen retention and sexual cultivation. So, which makes sense because you build up this sexual charge, and that's sexual creative energy. We are made from sexual energy. Everything is made from sexual energy. And so when you have this abundance of sexual energy in your body, you become very creative. You can channel it into all of your creative projects. It's really amazing. And so some of the benefits. Another benefit I've noticed is better orgasms. So, and this is something that takes some training to achieve. When you can learn to have non-ejaculatory orgasms, when you have sex with someone and you have this huge reservoir of sexual energy, it's incredibly powerful. All the sensations of sexual pleasure increase, and when you're moving that energy up your spine, moving it through the different energy channels of your body, it's incredibly pleasurable, and you get into these huge, massively powerful orgasmic states that most men never experience because they don't have this sexual charge. They've only experienced this very limited ejaculatory orgasm. So it's like your orgasmic thresholds for like here to here, right? Well, when you practice semen retention, you build up this sexual charge, have non-ejaculatory orgasms, you get like way up here to levels you've never, even imagined possible. So it's really, really incredible. Of course, it takes some training to be able to retain your semen during sex, but it can be done. And that's specifically why I've created my course and things like that, is to help men do this. So very, very powerful. And then of course a big benefit that people always ask about is attraction, increased attraction. You become more attractive when you practice semen retention. It's very apparent, and it became very apparent to me very quickly when I started practicing semen retention. It's like, and it makes sense because take a man who's depleting his life force every day, looking at porn, ejaculating all the time, acting out of impulses, just depleting his energy and his energy and his sexual energy, versus a man who's building up his energy. He's overflowing with this energy, abundant with this magnetic sexual energy. Who is more attractive? So, and people just feel this. They'll know nothing about you. They won't know you at all, but they'll walk by you and just feel, because you just radiate the sexual charge. So it's very, very powerful. Yeah, so that, I think that about sums it up. See if there's anything else I wanted to say. Yeah, so you've got increased confidence, energy levels, focus, creativity. You become more attractive, you become more influential. You carry this high degree of sexual charge, and people just vibe on that. They pick it up like, ooh, I don't know what it is about this guy, but it's nice. It feels good to be around him. So this is what happens when you practice semen retention. So yeah, that's the benefits of practicing semen retention. These are all things I've experienced myself. I don't like to just like read about things and regurgitate them like some people do. I like to experience things and see them, that it's true for me, and then that's what I share. So this is what I personally experienced practicing semen retention. So I'm going to answer questions now. So any questions you guys have, feel free to throw them out. Can you edge on semen retention? So this is a common question. So you can, but there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. So it depends, like, what's your goal? Why are you edging, right? And what methods are you using? If you're just like masturbating the same way you used to, just sitting stiffly in a chair, focused completely on your genital experience, and you just let the sexual energy build up and then you stop, you haven't really accomplished anything. You just built up a lot of sexual tension in your genitals, basically. But if you're using it as like a training method or method just to cultivate your own sexual energy, like, so for example, you use the techniques to arouse your sexual energy, you move it through your body, move it to your brain, supercharge the brain, the organs with that sexual energy. You've cultivated your sexual energy and you've actually done something with it. You've moved it through your body and you can charge yourself up with that energy. So that's a different approach to edging. That's how you train to last longer in bed and have full body orgasms. So that is the method of edging. If you're going to do it, that I would recommend doing, where you're dissipating the energy throughout your body instead of just letting it build up and cause more tension in your genitals, which can actually increase premature ejaculation if you just edge and leave this sexual tension in your genitals, and you'll experience blue balls and things like that as well. Another person asked about edging and no fat benefits. Okay, so does edging affect no fat benefits? Good question. I had to think about this one for a second. What I noticed is that, I don't do it much now, but when I was, my first year or two of practicing semen retention, I was single. I went through a long period of being single, and I wanted to like get really good at basically lasting long in bed, cultivating sexual energy, having full body orgasm. So I would edge, I would practice it and practice drawing that energy upward. And I definitely didn't lose any benefits when I was doing that. I did get really, really hot, really young, because your male sexual energy, when it's aroused, it's like fire, and you can easily overheat yourself if you overdo it with edging and cultivating that energy. So you need to stay balanced. So, but I would say it does not. You don't lose any benefits. In fact, you may become even more magnetic because you activate that sexual energy. It's aroused, and you store that in your body, and it's just like this fiery essence that you radiate. So that's my experience with that anyways. But I think pornography is evil. I don't necessarily think it's evil, but I don't think that it's beneficial. It causes a lot of physical, psychological, mental, emotional issues. Dopamine desensitization. When you're looking at porn all the time, your dopamine levels just surge, and the brain desensitizes itself to dopamine because of that. So it really messes up your brain. You're like gluing yourself to this sexual image, that, and it's like, where's that sexual energy going? You don't really know what you're connecting to. And, we could get into deeper, more esoteric aspects of this, but basically, I think that looking at porn can only cause issues, and I do not recommend it. Is there some tip to decrease penis sensitivity? And tell me if baby oil is healthy or not. Look at the ingredients. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure what's in baby oil, but if there's a bunch of like chemicals with long names, then it's probably not something you want to put on your body. I would recommend something natural like coconut oil. Um, but decreasing penis sensitivity, what what I found to be the main aspect is too much tension in the pelvic floor. This is something I'm really preaching now, is keeping the pelvic floor relaxed. My recent video on Kegels and them actually causing premature ejaculation if you don't do them properly, definitely check that out, because I talk about how keeping a relaxed pelvic floor helps you to control your arousal better and be able to handle more sexual stimulation without going over the edge. So definitely check that video out. Do I practice affirmations? A little bit, not a lot. I do a lot of I do a lot of meditation, and I'll see myself, every day I have kind of a sort of manifestation type routine where I see my ideal situation, what I want to bring into my life, basically. And I'll just see myself in that and feel that feeling strongly. And sometimes I'll put affirmations on that as well. How do non-ejaculatory orgasms feel? Well, there's many different types of orgasms that a man can have, but basically they feel very subtle in the beginning. It takes some getting used to feeling sensations in other parts of your body. A lot of people are very numb in their bodies. They don't have much body awareness. So that's why in my course, I teach practices to open up the energy channels of the body, get you basically awaken your body, clear blockages so that you can get this full body consciousness and start to bring the sexual energy throughout your body. But basically, once you really get it going, and you're experiencing these powerful ejaculations, it feels incredible. I've had some where it was like that sort of intense pulsation of an ejaculation. It was like that, but my whole body, and especially my brain, was just like it's crazy. So it feels good, basically. And without that drop, that like, oh, now I'm done. That I ejaculated and that energy's gone. Now I'm at a low state. Without that low state, basically. But it is much different than an ejaculatory orgasm. It's said that sexual kung fu, sexual cultivation can be used to heal the body of conditions and ailments. What are some of the most profound examples of such healing you've seen or heard of? Good question. Let me think about this one. I mean, so a large part of sexual kung fu is Qigong practices, which is incredible self-healing practice, basically. I met a guy who he had been in a car accident, and he basically like fractured his spine. He was completely paralyzed, I think, from the waist up. And he started practicing Qigong. And by practicing Qigong, basically he was able to rehabilitate himself into fully, I met this guy, he was just walking normally. It's like, yeah, I used to be paralyzed from the waist down. So he rehabilitated himself using Qigong practices. And sexual energy can take that to another level as well. But it's a bit, you need a foundation before you start trying to heal yourself with sexual energy, because you can amplify unconscious patterns, which is why I always start with clearing practices. So, the things like that. Do men that get a vasectomy become extremely unmotivated and lethargic? No, not necessarily, because when you get a vasectomy, you're basically practicing semen retention because they can't ejaculate, But the interesting thing is that so men who've had vasectomy, I've talked to several men, I've had several students who had vasectomies, they still feel the exact same sexual response when they have an ejaculatory type orgasm, and they're not losing sperm. They do sort of spurt out this ejaculatory fluid, which is just like the Cowper's gland fluid, but there's no sperm in it. So they're not physically losing sperm, but they still feel energetically depleted from an ejaculatory orgasm. So that's very, very interesting. And it tells us that there's more happening during an ejaculation than just the physical loss of fluid. So it's very interesting. And anyone practicing vasectomy can still benefit from withholding from ejaculation. Is spending time in the sun good to raise your energy levels? Absolutely. Getting sun is extremely important. I try to go out and get at least 30 minutes of sun when I can, when the sun's out. In the summer, I was getting full body sun. Sun exposure on the genitals increases your testosterone levels by like 200%. I've seen studies on this, and we're meant to get sunlight, basically. It increases our vitamin D production. A lot of people are afraid of the sun. They have to cover themselves up with sunscreen, put all these chemicals on their body, but this basically getting sun is important. Of course, be careful, if you're sensitive, don't just like go out at high noon sun if you're like really pale, but yes, I highly recommend getting sun. for your health in general. Do you think some people can learn to work with sexual energy intuitively when they retain and transmute their sexual energy for longer periods, say 3 to 4 months? It depends. It depends, like what level of energetic skill they have, how locked into old sexual habits they are. So, there's a lot of factors to that question, but sure, it's possible. Am I vegan? No, I am no longer vegan. I tried going vegan last year. I was vegan for about 4 months, and it just wasn't right for my body. My sexual energy like really dropped, and that's when I knew like something was wrong. It's like, okay, I'm usually high sexual energy, and my sex drive just when I was vegan. So I was like, nope, that's not for me. So I am no longer vegan. Have you ever tried a dopamine fast? Not specifically, but I do try to take days off of like social media and things like that. I try to spend a lot of time in nature whenever I can. I start my day. I don't look at like no social media, no emails. I only look at my phone because I use like timer for my exercises and things like that. But yeah, I get up in the morning, I go out in nature, I practice for 2 or 3 hours, I come back home, I have breakfast, and then I start my day, answering emails and things like that. So I avoid, uh, these overstimulating, over exciting technology and things like that as much as I can. Are you able to build sexual energy without self-pleasuring, or is it better doing it? It's you don't have to build sexual energy. It's just kind of a training tool. Does orgasm come from prostate or just when you are aroused in the body and not in the genitals because we don't know how orgasm feels? The orgasm is just it's a pulsation. It's a subtle pulsation. We often associate orgasm with the pulsation of the prostate, spurting out the fluid. That's a physical process. That's the ejaculatory response. Orgasm is something different. It's something we feel. It's a little more energetic. It's a little more subtle. And so you can have an orgasm anywhere in your body. It's not necessarily linked to physical process. Should I pay for Qigong classes or just watch YouTube videos of Qigong? I definitely recommend studying in person with a teacher if you can, but the thing is that unfortunately the skill level of teachers is just there's no real quality control, like who's like I studied many systems for many years, and my first few years doing qigong it was more of just like physically moving my arms while breathing and imagining things, which was great. I got a lot of benefits of that. But in the past few years, I've studied with some high level teachers studying Tai Chi and things like that, and really understanding the internal uh, energetic activations and how to like really feel energy in your body, how to really build a charge and get that current flowing. It's tangible. It's completely tangible. If you're doing qigong, it takes a little bit to open up to that, but basically, if you're doing qigong correctly, you will very tangibly feel your energy. And I go into these internal alignments and how to basically really activate your energy flow in my 6-week course, the qigong practices. And I'm creating a standalone video called Qigong Mastery, which will be up on my website too, where I go over that. But definitely study with a teacher if you can. I tried locking the gate last night. Didn't work out, but it was noticeably more intense. I think you're talking about either the 3-finger lock or just squeezing the perineum, the PC muscle, tightly during ejaculation. Yeah, it's not a great method, but it can be a decent beginning method. Do you recommend Tai Chi or Qigong? I don't know the difference, but really want to get into it. Definitely recommend either. Tai Chi is basically advanced Qigong. It's very, very, very deep and profound practice. When you get the real deal, there's like, I would say like 90% of Tai Chi out there is a completely physical tension-based practice, and you'll get some basic like physical benefits. But when you get the real deal, the real Tai Chi, it's like extremely complex, extremely incredible. So Qigong is a great starting point, but if you can find like a real high-level Tai Chi teacher, then it's really incredible. I've been studying Tai Chi for a couple of years, and I feel like I'm just barely like getting past the beginner level. It's incredible. Any UK-based Qigong teachers who I would recommend? Not off the top of my head. So yeah, there's a guy named what's his name? I can't even remember. Sorry, I can't help you too much on that one. I think Damo Mitchell lives in the UK. He's a decent. Oh, I mean, he's a high level teacher, but his system is like it's a little complex. But anyways, you could check him out. Does the yellow sheet behind me symbolize something? Maybe, I don't know. It's just a tapestry. It looks nice. It's kind of a mandala type thing. If a man who's sterile or has done vasectomy ejaculates, does he lose the benefits of semen retention? Could it be considered a hack? So I just talked about this a little bit ago, but I'll just kind of summarize what I said. Basically, men who've had vasectomies, they still feel exhausted after an ejaculatory orgasm, though they don't lose any sperm through it. So it tells you that there's more going on than just the physical loss of sperm during an ejaculation. So it's exactly the same for men who've had vasectomy. How can a man have true non-ejaculatory orgasm? What advice can you give? It's, if I could tell you in a sentence, then I'm sure someone else would have already, it's not something I can say in just a few words. Basically, it takes a certain openness in your body, a certain sensitivity to new types of sensations, and I go deep into this in my courses. But basically, it's learning to open your microcosmic orbit, be able to move sexual energy through it, and really relax into these high arousal states instead of going into tension and ejaculating. Do I still feel depression or anxiety from time to time, or is it 100% gone now? Yeah, it's been years since I've felt like really had like depression or anxiety. I mean, maybe like some stressful situation traveling or something like that. But yeah, mostly I don't struggle with depression or anxiety as I used to because of, I have a daily practice to keep myself clear, keep myself balanced, and, practicing semen retention. So, okay, guys, thank you for joining me again. And I hope you enjoyed this live. Once again, I'm completely re-recording, reworking through my 6-week course, Multi-Orgasmic Man. I'm opening registration for that next month. It's going to be like basically a brand new course, so many updates and enhancements to the course that I'm really, really excited to share with you guys. I've had a lot of breakthroughs in my own practice, so I'm going to be sharing this in this course. Another question: what is your top tip for preventing ejaculation while sleeping? Watch my videos on preventing wet dreams, but basically avoid getting into really aroused states during the day without fulfillment. Okay, guys, take it easy. I will see you next time.